Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report, and I'm here today with Courtney Nichols, who's the CEO and founder of Travel Bash. Now, what's Travel Bash? We're going to talk about that because she also has a couple of other ventures. She is a travel advisor, but she also specializes in really large group weddings. That's the beginning, but there's a whole lot more to her business, and we thought it was really interesting what she's doing. And a lot of it is she's trying to help her fellow travel advisors. And we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Hey, Courtney, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, we're hanging out. We had a little conversation last week about what you did, and I thought this is really a great story. And so let's first of all talk about how did you first get into travel and why?
Yes. So I first got into travel in, I think, 2017. So at the time, it was like my side hustle. My parents' travel advisor at the time was like, "Oh, I think you'd be really good." And she had mentioned it to me a few years back, but obviously I'm a millennial. I'm now 38. And so at the time, I think I was like, travel advisor, travel agent, like, do you make money? And like, I book my own stuff. Like, why would I do that? Like it wasn't clicking. But I also was in a point where I was working full time as a major gift fundraiser. So my background's in development, and my husband's a college basketball coach. So with his career often taking several turns and different moves, at that point, I think we had moved 6 times in 7 years. I wanted something that was flexible that I could create on my own. That if he told me we were moving to Antarctica tomorrow, that I'd be okay, cool, I'm ready to go. So it's always been a personal passion. I grew up traveling. I mean, took my first solo flight at 10 years old. I lived overseas. So once I realized, okay, you could build a business around it, I decided, why not? I'll take that first year in 2017 and see if it's actually viable. And then if so, I will make the shift or the transition. So I actually worked for about a year and a half. I didn't quit my job until June 2018. So I was doing
Okay.
about a year and a half.
And what did you focus on initially as selling travel?
Yeah, so when I first started, I focused on large groups and destination weddings. And the reason why I was like at that time, everybody in my friend group was getting married. I had a destination wedding myself, maybe 3 or 4 years prior to that. And I also was kind of looking at numbers of like margins. And I'm like, one trip going to like, I started off kind of mass market, all inclusive. I was like, I'm not going to make any money like this. But then when I realized, like, hold on, if 20 people do this thing, like now we're in business. So I originally started with kind of large scale groups and destination weddings.
No, that's great, and that is certainly a much more lucrative area. So you got successful doing that, I gather, and you saw what the possibilities were, and you started booking. And now are you affiliated with any host agency or consortium?
I am not anymore. I used to be a part of, I've been a travel leaders and virtuoso.
Okay, so you're now on your own, and
I
so
am.
this business and travel bash, as you call it, was going very well, and then you created a second little line of business. Talk about that. I don't know, was it Trav LB or
I know I feel like I need a rebrand. I'm shaking things up, planning already for next year. And I'm like, people are like Travel Bee. I'll go to like, I was at Private Luxury and she was like, tell me about Travel Bee. And I'm like, no, it's TRVLB. It was a playoff travel bash and it was supposed to be like,
got
okay,
it.
I'll take these words and kind of be Rico Suave, and I guess it didn't turn out because people were like travel B. But anyways, during COVID, I kind of like most of us, it could have been a blessing in disguise or a total disaster. And so what I found during COVID was I had a small subset of my um clients that were still traveling. I'm like, where are they going? Like, how am I doing? Because obviously, Destination Weddings kept like rebook, cancel, rebook. So I'm like, this is a headache. But then I looked at, how they say the 20% gives you the 80% output. And so
Yeah.
like I was chartering a yacht to the British Virgin Islands. Someone was like, hey, Courtney, we're gonna take a private plane. Can you get us a villa? And I'm like, hold on, I might be onto something. So I said, okay, what if I go to these clients and say, hey, I plan, multiple trips throughout the year, not just one or two. And like, how can we work together more fluidly? Like, I want to be a part of your inner circle. So I went to them and I created this retainer model. So I
Okay.
said, when the world opens back up in 2021, I'm done with destination. I'm done. I don't book any more one-off trips. Like I'm in this market. And so in 2021, what I did was come back to reality that like I'm keeping Travel Bash because I love it and it's destination weddings. And I had a small team and they were kind of running it. But me, myself personally, would not take any one-off trips. I would only take
Right.
clients that agree to work with me on retainer. So that's how that's how TRVLB was created. So 2021, when things were trying to open back up, I was declining all the leads that came in that just wanted to go to Hawaii or do this or that, like referring them out or saying, hey, Travel Bash only focuses solely on destination weddings now, and TRVLB like would love to work with you, but now I'm retainer based and it's a year-round service for kind of those discerning
And
travelers.
that's any kind of travel. It's not just obviously group. It's weddings or anything like that. But you have to pay a annual fee or something to be part to have
Correct.
access
Yes.
to your services.
Annual retaining, correct. Yes. And that's separate from my destination wedding. So if you came to me like all my FIT clients now, instead of just like, oh, we're planning our honeymoon to South Africa. Yes. So I always say you wouldn't test drive a Porsche without buying it.
Hmm.
So the test drive, I have a flat fee, but then I say, hey, I work on referral. And on top of that, if you want to continue to be my client, then we have a retainer kind of contract and work off that. So I wouldn't plan another trip or I wouldn't just be like, oh, for those families that go on there once or twice a year vacation,
Right.
I refer those to colleagues. But I really wanted to work with a clientele where, again, I was part of their inner circle, like their admin, their CPA, their lawyer, real estate agent, all of that. I wanted to work with a small amount of clients at a higher price point.
And
So I want
what was the reception to that model? Did you get you obviously you found some success there.
so all my clients during 2020 converted. At the time, my pricing was, I feel like it was low. It was $3,000 for the year. It's more than tripled now. So, I mean, there was no pushback because the type of clients that I serve in that model, that's how they operate anyway. It's no
Right.
brainer. The fact that they were like, Courtney, I remember one of the guys told me, you're not charging enough. Like, if I take this back to my friend, they're gonna be like, what's wrong with it? They're used to being billed like hourly, like their lawyer, billable hours or like on a retainer because that's what they value. And so they have people in their lives that are the decision makers and they want stuff done and done right. And so there's a different level of expectation from those type of clients. And the way they do business is very differently from your regular leisure traveler.
No, and absolutely. Well, if you know a little of the history of travel advisors and travel agents, to get to the point of actually charging fees has been challenging for many until recently. Uh,
Hmm.
Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, they were like, "No, we're paid on commission. We don't get fees." And then it started to change. And it sounds like you walked into this, you know, and you found success with Travel Bash, but then you realized, yeah, I want to be on a retainer basis.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say, because I didn't have a travel or hospitality background, didn't go to school, didn't say I wanted to work for a hotel or tour operator. I have a marketing degree, a business degree with sport management. I was an athlete, so like I wasn't even thinking, anything with travel hospitality. But what I did was I have a funder, a major gift background. So I was around people who were wealthy. And so I knew they would pay money to do this. So it's like your experiences, your mindset, it opened the door to everything else. So when I first got into the industry, even when it was with Destination Weddings, I charged a fee. I never was, oh, I'll plan your trip
No,
and
that's
I get
great.
commission. Yeah.
You didn't have any of the baggage that a lot of other travel advisors.
Yeah, it's kind of like starting fresh, like when you're a kid versus trying to teach an adult something versus a kid. The kid's way more receptive because they don't have all these bad habits that they formed.
Well, the other reason, those two businesses alone, I think are worthy to talk with you about. But then you've recently started. You wanted to sort of help maybe some of your other travel advisors know a little bit about how to do best business practices and all things. And
Yeah.
just this year, you've created a conference, I guess, called the Biz Huddle, right?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about what is the Biz Huddle.
Yes. Okay. So I hate saying conference because obviously in our industry, there's a million of them and
Okay.
they start to all flow and
Oh,
all of that.
I won't use the word conference
Okay,
again.
okay. So basically, the business huddle is a business kind of retreat meets mastermind.
Got
And
it.
so it's it's not these high level keynote travel industry trends like really buttoned up and we're going to go through supplier trade shows. No, none of that. It's designed for experienced travel advisors who want to work on their businesses, not just in them. So it's I always say it's for us, by us, created with them in mind. I had several different conversations with colleagues at different supplier trade shows and conferences, and I'm like, there's just something missing. Like, yes, we have the destination training, the supplier. I get to meet this hotel, this GM, this sales director, but like, who is helping me create the sales funnel in my business? P&L statements. What are all the? It's like Donald Miller says, all the areas of the airplane. You have the sales and marketing, the operations, the client experience. Who is really providing those business strategies to help me build, or if I'm already building, to scale that business? So instead of keynotes and vendor trade shows, we're kind of doing deep dive workshops, peeling back the onion, live hot seats, and then real implementation. They say 70% of conferences no one ever implements. You go back home, you have this book full of ideas, you're excited, you're inspired, but then you go back to the daily hustle and nothing gets implemented. So like when advisors come, they're actually getting a plan, whether it's for hiring, whether it's creating a new email sequence, whether it's to work on their mindset, because a lot of things that I've learned in business and how I've been able to be successful really started with my mindset, what I thought
Right.
was possible, or the limiting beliefs that I had, or, all that type of work plays into being a business owner. So what I wanted advisors to understand is like, we are CEOs, we're business owners, and we're not just travel advisors or travel agents. We don't just sell travel. And there's a lot more to building a business, to not just be profitable, but sustainable as well.
Right. And you, I think for this event, you're actually bringing in people from outside the industry, right?
Yes.
To help them
Yes.
give good business ideas and practices. And it's not just going to be travel people who are speaking to travel
No
advisors.
travel. Yes, these are businesses, coaches, consultants. I mean, even CEOs that run their own businesses. And I'm talking about seven-figure businesses, like been featured in Forbes.
Right.
They're top of the top, cream of the cream. Like that are coming and they're sharing their knowledge, but they're actually going deep. They're not just saying, "Oh, your website's not good. That's why you're not getting like." No, they are really being very generous and pouring out how they build a business, how they see in our industry that we can meet the demands of a new consumer, because nowadays consumers are a lot more discerning. And yes, they are spending, but they're also doing their research. We have to be better stewards of educating our clients and educating um outside of our industry of what we do and the value we provide.
Okay. Now, where is the Biz Huddle going to take place, and when?
Yes, so the Biz Huddle this year is July 22nd through the 25th, at the Thompson Austin in Austin, Texas. We chose Austin this year because obviously it's a big business hub now. Austin has
Right,
blown
right.
up. There's Google headquarters, all of that. So we're like, this is the perfect place to do business. And it's fun,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
fun, but there is a fee to attend, right?
There is a fee. It is $17.99, and this covers all the workshop sessions, your meals. There'll be one meal on your own where you can kind of fellowship, work with other travel industry colleagues. It is limited to 50 advisors, because in order to do kind of a mastermind and really to go deep, you really can't have 300 and 400 people. Like, it has to be a small, intimate, kind of curated space where you're
Right.
on similar levels to really go deeper. So yes.
So I understand beyond that, somebody told me that you actually post a lot of information on LinkedIn that's helpful to travel advisors. You're providing kind
Yes.
of advice in a timely way. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing on LinkedIn?
Yes, you've been spying on me, James.
Of
No, I'm
course,
kidding.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so LinkedIn, I know people are like, oh, social media. LinkedIn is my main platform. It's my main hub. I share advice, trends, industry insights, talk about growing your business, scaling, pricing strategies, client communication, what's worked in my business, sustainable growth, all the things that I enjoy, entrepreneurship. It's kind of like business meets at the intersection of travel. And so I'm providing advice, things that I wish I knew when I first started. And so that's like, I usually don't miss a day. With that said, as we're recording today, I've missed a day. I'm getting ready to move this week.
Well,
Um,
you're moving, I think you told me. So
yeah, I'm moving
you have
this
a
week, but I
reason.
mean, Monday through Friday, I'm on there every day.
Right. That's fantastic. Now, what's your goal with now you have like sort of three types of businesses here going. You have the initial Travel Bash, you have the
Yeah.
Trav LB, and then now you have Biz Huddle. What's your goal with these businesses? What do you want to build overall, and what's next?
Yeah, so overall, my goal is to elevate the travel experience. And so that's for both clients and advisors. And so for my clients, I always say I create unforgettable, curated journeys that feel seamless, personable. And for advisors, I want to create spaces where they can build those profitable. That's kind of my talent, profitable yet sustainable. Because then I hear people that are saying they're making money, but they're burnt out, or they have 500
Right.
clients.
Right.
Like no one wants to operate like that. And so I want to create a space that allows them to build these profitable, sustainable businesses that reflect their value and vision. So if that's hustle, then that's hustle. But if that's like, no, I want to be done by 2 and play with my kids, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of raising the bar in our industry and not just trying to keep up.
Got it. Yeah. Well, no, as obviously that's a great idea. Oh, these are all great ideas. Now, is there anything else you want to tell our travel advisors about your travel businesses and, of course, this new conference?
The one thing
Sorry,
you
I
said,
can't say conference. I should have
mastermind or business
mastermind.
event.
I got to get off that. See, I'm hooked in old school, right?
See, we're switching it up. So I would say the one thing, especially now when you said kind of what's next, I'm in the point in my business where I say diluted focus gets diluted results. And so now that I have 3 brands, what does that look like? And so sunsetting probably at the end of this year, like keeping the clients that we currently have on board for Travel Bash, but it's been 7 great years. And I don't know if you've heard that saying about 7 years, like we shed ourselves, like we get new
Right.
skin cells, new modules. And so I think when I first entered the industry, kind of green and new and like, oh, this is fun, that like Travel Bash was like it. And now I've kind of outgrown it. And
Right.
so I kind of kept it just because I'm like, why wouldn't I have a team to run this and that? But like even now with Travel Bash, we only do 11 weddings a year. And I
Yeah.
charge a $5,000 retainer on top of that. So like I think this has come to an end. Travel Bash has come to the end and kind of really focusing on being a resource for advisors, but also growing out and scaling my retainer model and kind of hiring ICs to service them. So
Got it.
really stepping more and more into that CEO. So I'm believing like if you're building a brand to start focusing on what you want and need and don't look for the immediate, but like the future and kind of build that personal brand and like be consistent. Show up whatever that looks like, whether it's an email newsletter that you say you're putting out every Monday, whether it's that social media post that goes out every Thursday, or it's that goal of this is how we serve clients. Continue that and don't get lazy, don't have that shiny whistle, the bells and whistle, like, oh, I'm going to try this or do. A lot of times as business owners, we don't stick with things
Right.
often enough. It's kind of like Apple. They don't come out with new products. It's the same iPhone. They've just upgraded it. So you almost have to get bored with what you're doing
Right.
and find ways to improve it. So that's kind of probably what I would say at this point of where I'm at and if I had any advice or if I was sharing with anyone in our industry.
Now, where can travel advisors go to find out more about your two existing businesses? And then I'm going to focus on the mastermind thing that's
Yeah.
coming up here. So for Travel Bash, what's the URL?
It's so easy. It's travel, and I have to say hyphen instead of dash because then it's like dash bash, and people were
Okay,
like, "What?"
right.
Yeah, so it's www.travel, and then there's a hyphen, B as in boy, A as in apple, S as in Sam, H as in horse.com, and then my retainer is trvlbclub.com, trvlbclub.com, and obviously we're focusing on Business Huddle now, so but it's
Yeah, well,
the
where's Business Hall? Where's that?
yeah, the biz huddle.com. So THEBIZ, not business. We're not being formal, not business, just biz, BIZ huddle, HUDDLE.com. And obviously, if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see everything. Like there'll be links everywhere. And you're like, oh, you'll probably get overwhelmed. You're like, whoa, let me focus. Um, but yeah, that's where you can find me and or any of my brands.
That's also for the the Biz Huddle. You can also sign up for the
Yes.
mastermind event too.
Yeah, so we say instead of sign up, you're applying because we want to
Aha.
make sure that you have, you know, at the Biz Huddle, because we're taking such a limited number, we want to make sure the right people are in the room because it's not for newbies. It's not people in your first 3 years of business. We need people at similar levels. So we're targeting that 5 to 10 years that are growing, that like where we're not breaking down like what is a DMC or do you charge fees and all that. Like it's a little more advanced. So we're not in that elementary, middle school. We're trying to like get that SAT score up so we can get into the right college. That's
Got
kind of
it.
where we're at. Yeah, so it's kind of an advanced event. So that's why I'm telling everybody, like, if you're new to the industry, I always tell people there's TEAC, Masters in Travel, but this is more for your experienced advisor, probably is hiring or have a few ICs or admin, and they're looking to grow or scale, because scaling and growing are two different things.
Got it. Well, Courtney, it's been great to meet you online. Hopefully, we'll get together in person someday
Yes.
soon.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck with the all of these businesses, but the Biz Huddle in particular, because that's coming up. It'll be in July. So if you want to out there, if you want to participate and you're interested, you better go take a look and sign up and see. Not sign up. You have to apply. And see if and experience this. It sounds wonderful. And boy, you just have a amazing. I can't wait to see what your next idea is because you're just coming. Considering you've been in the business since 2017, you have come up with some incredibly interesting ideas to reinvent the profession in a way. I think, which is really important these days. I mean, it's hard to believe that when I first started travel advisors, people thought like you did.
Yeah.
Why the travel advisors are going away, and I kept saying no, they're still around, they're still around, and but
Mhm.
then they found new ways to reinvent themselves, and you certainly have done that amazingly, and I'm so happy to hear a story like yours. Again, great to see you, Courtney, and best of
Thank
luck
you.
with the business, the Biz Huddle.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.